Hi, Miss Alexander here and ready to learn lesson 1.18. All right, now say these words after me. Free, fumble, fantastic, fake, fastest. What sound did you hear in all those words? Did you hear a sound? What letter do you think makes that sound? Oh, let's see if you're right. Free, fumble, fantastic, fake, and fastest. Were you right? Did all those make letters that have the letter F in them? They sure did. Let's talk about that letter F and the sound it makes. Put your fingers on your throat and see if it's voiced. It's not voiced. What's your mouth doing when you make that sound? Your top teeth are on your bottom lip and they're blowing air through. Something's blocking that air. That's right, your teeth. Do you remember what kind of letters have something that's blocked or partially blocked by the tongue, teeth, or lips? That's right, consonants. So we know the letter F is a consonant that's blocked by the teeth. We know that it's unvoiced, but listen to the sound again. It's continuant. It's a sound that keeps on going. So that's 3 things we've just learned about the letter F. So I want to talk about how to make a letter F now. Okay? If I take my little pen here and I go make a curve and down and cross, that's the letter F. I always think about a candy cane when I think about the letter F. Candy cane with a cross on it. Yeah, that helps me. Okay, let's move on to our next one. I want to give you a riddle, and I want to see if you can figure out what the answer to our riddle is. Ready? I live in lakes and oceans too. When cooked, I'm a tasty dish. I've silver scales, and I breathe through gills. I'm caught on a hook, I'm a... Did you guess fish? And that's exactly right. F, fish. Your turn. Great job. Let's look at some more words. All right, here we go. Let's change the color here so we don't have the same. Let's change it to a blue this time. How about that? Awesome. So, what kind of a syllable is this? I see a consonant after a vowel. That means it's a closed syllable. I'm going to mark that with a brief. That means that A says ah. So read that word. Fan. Good job. What kind of a syllable is this? You're right. It's also closed. Mark it with a breathe. Good. Excellent. Read that word. Fin. What kind of syllable is this? Closed. Mark it with a breathe. Read that word. Fat. What kind of syllable is this? Closed. Mark it with a breathe and read that word. Fit. What do you notice about this word? First thing you notice, there's 2 F's. Remember, when we have 2 of the same letter next to each other, we cross one out because it only makes one sound. So I crossed out this F. And then here I'm going to put a brief because it is a closed syllable. All right. So let's read this word. Sniff. Great job. You're doing great. Let's look at some more words in our reading practice. Okay. So, the first word we have, there's a vowel and a consonant that makes it a closed syllable. Mark it with a brief. Read that word. If. What kind of syllable is this? Closed. Mark it with a brief. Read it. Fad. That's great. Fad is something that's maybe in style for a short period of time. Like, what if everybody wore purple hair? And the movie stars and everybody on magazines and on TV, everybody had purple hair, and that was the big thing. And the next week, everybody said, oh no, purple hair is not the thing that's in. Now the thing that's in is green hair. And so everybody would change to green. Fad is something that just kind of is something that lots of people do, but it doesn't usually last very long. All right. So let's look at the next word. What kind of a syllable is that? It's closed. You're right. Mark it with a breathe. Great job. Read that word. Fat. The next word. What kind of syllable? Closed. Mark it with a breathe. Read it. Fit. What kind of syllable is this? It's closed. Mark it with a breathe. All right. Now read that word to yourself, and now read it to me. Flat. Ooh, you got that blend there. Flat. Okay, what about this one? What kind of syllable is this? Closed. Mark it with a breathe. Read that word. Flap. Great. Let's go to the next row. What kind of a syllable is this? Closed. Mark it with a breathe. Did you see that? We get to cross out an F. Way to pay attention. So, we only going to make one F sound, not two F sounds at the end of that word. Okay, let's go ahead and read that word. Tiff. A tiff is like a little, kind of like a little argument you and your friend might be having. Maybe you're doing a project for school together, and one of you wants to write with the purple marker, and the whole thing should be purple, and then the other one of you maybe wants everything to be red, and you just have a little argument about which color you should use. It's not an argument that's going to be so bad that you end your friendship. Just something you disagree on. A little tiff. Okay, let's see. What kind of a syllable is this? Closed. Mark it with a breathe. And read this word. Oh, you're right. You got to cross out that F. Good job. Well, I'm glad you noticed. That word is stiff. Something as straight as stiff. Stiff as a board. Okay. Now, first thing you noticed two F's. Cross out one and make a breathe here for that closed syllable. Read that word. Staff. Staff is usually a group of people that work together or are together. So at school here we have a staff. All the custodians and the teachers and the secretaries and the cafeteria workers, all of us that work together at the school, we call the staff. Okay, let's look at this next word. What kind of syllable? Right, it's closed. Mark it with a breathe. Cross out an F. You're doing great. Now read that word. Sniff. There you go. That's what our nose does. Okay, ready? What kind of syllable is this? Closed. Mark it with a breathe. Read it. Sift. When you have a whole bunch of things all mixed together, you sift through them. Like maybe I want to sift through my belongings to find my socks. So I have to move all the shirts out of the way, move the pants out of the way and everything just to find my socks. I'm moving things around because they're all mixed up together. Sifting. All right, the next one. What kind of syllable is that? It's closed. Mark it with a breathe. Read it. Lift. All right, our next word. What kind of syllable? Closed. What do I use? That's right, code it with a breathe. Read that word. Flint. Flint is something that you use to make fire. Okay, so let's look at this word. What kind of syllable? Closed, and mark it with a breathe. Okay, read that word. Flap. Flap your arms. And the last word. Here we go. What kind of a syllable is it? It's also closed. Mark it with a breathe. Whoops. That didn't work so well, but you know what? That happens. Sometimes things don't work out the way that you want them to. So you just try again. Let's try mark it with a breathe this time. There we go. Now read that word to me. Flip. Great job. So let's go back through. We're going to read these words going down. Ready? If, fit, tiff, sniff, flint. Let's go to the second column. Fad, flat, stiff, sift, flap. Doing a great job reading. Keep going. Last column. fat, flap, staff, lift, and flip. That's what the little child is doing on the bottom of the page. Looks like they're doing a flip. Awesome. Well, you did a great job with our letter F today in our discovery lesson. So let's remember some things about the letter F. We remembered that it's not voiced. We remembered that F is a consonant, and the F makes a continuant sound, right? Great job. Thanks so much, and I hope you have a great day. Bye now.